BA Honours, Psychological Research, C, PSY 05. Hello friends, how are you? Today we will discuss one of the topics of psychological research, methodology. Actually, what happens when you conduct the research, then basically, first of all, you formulate a problem, then you will frame a hypothesis, which is a tentative solution of the problem. Then you will select the sample from the population, and when you will finalize your sample, how that sample will be selected is another topic. Then we will have to take any one of the technique to collect the data. That may be experimental method, that may be observation, that may be interview, that may be questionnaire, that may be semantical differential, that may be survey method. Like that, one of the method is focus group discussion method. So, focus group discussion method basically is a method to collect the data when you are conducting a research. So, now we start this focus group discussion method. Focus group discussion can be traced back to Emorg Bogardas, who described it using group interviews to develop a social distance scale in 1926. Focus group discussion, which we can give the abbreviation FGD, is a method of qualitative research. In this method, a selected group of people discuss a given topic or issue in depth, facilitated by a professional external moderator. This method serves to solicit participants' attitude and perceptions, knowledge and experiences and practices shared in the course of interaction with different people. This technique is based upon the assumption that the group process activated during an FGD, that means when I say FGD, I mean focus group discussion. FGD help to identify and clarify shared knowledge among groups and communities which would otherwise be difficult to obtain with series of individuals interviews. This method, that is the FGD focus group discussion, actually was developed by Bogardas. Bogardas is a famous name when he constructed an attitude scale to measure the social distances among the groups, among the communities. So, he's the very popular name, and during that process, he developed this scheme focus group discussion. You know, as the name applies, you see group. When I say group, group means one, two or more than two, because single is an individual. When you say 2, 3, 4, it becomes a group. So, in this method, what we do, what we want to investigate, what we want to discuss, we will form the group, and then on that group, that we will focus on that group, and we will have the discussion method. Discussion method means interview method. Now, who will start this discussion? So, in this method, there will be a facilitator who will talk about, and the people will give their opinions. So, what will happen? At a single time, you will collect a large data on the whole group. Now, if you start talking individually, it takes more time. And we can't counter each other. If I say, well, this is my opinion, you don't agree. Now, in individual, there is no chance of contradiction. Whereas in a discussion method, we can say, no, sir, it is his view, this is my view. So, in this way, this is a very good method to collect the data, but this method is a qualitative, not quantitative. Because in the beginning of this paper, in the very first unit, we talked about qualitative and a quantitative. Quantitative when the number comes, qualitative when we have the answers and then we do the analysis of that data. So, whatever the shared knowledge among the groups is available, then we will, what we do? We will interpret that knowledge. Now, in this method, all the knowledge is shared equally among studied group, or that which I have told you. All the discussion which is having in the group will be shared by each and every member of the group. Now, suppose there are 4 members, 5 members, 10 members, everyone is listening and responding. It is not individual based, it is a group based. That is why the knowledge or whatever the information, whatever the interaction is happening, that will be shared in the group. Number 2, in each community, While I say community, community means group. In each community, there is a common underlying homogeneous knowledge. Rather, an FDG allows the investigator to solicit both the participants' shared narratives as well as their differences in terms of experiences, opinions and words view during such open discussion round. Now, this discussion is a open discussion. Now, the group which we form, homogeneous knowledge. What do you mean homogeneous knowledge? There are two words, heterogeneous, homogeneous. Heterogeneous means where there are layers different. Homogeneous means when they are of the equal. Now, suppose I want to discuss on the political scenario of the country, then the people who will be in the group, they will all who have the knowledge of the, who are aware about the political incidents happening in the country are in a group. I want to discuss on the education system. So, homogeneous group will be the educationists. I want to talk about the behavior of the consumers, then the common group will be the consumers of the market. So, the homogeneous knowledge means because otherwise if you have a heterogeneous group, you are talking about a topic on the physics. Now, one is person from chemistry, another from psychology, third from history, fourth from maths, third is from the Hindi literature, then how they will interact with the topic of the physics. But if there is a common group having the knowledge of physics, then there is a homogeneous knowledge, homogeneous group, then they can share about whatever they are talking. Clear? So, whatever the narratives are there, they can tell the differences. As I have told you in the earlier, you can say I don't agree, this is my view, I agree with you. So, in this way, with the open discussion, the data is collected in this method. Now, specific types of FDG groups we will talk about. What are the specific types of the FGD groups? Now, one is the natural groups. Natural groups consist of multiple participants who belong to pre-existing informal or formal group. For example, family or kin or co-workers, elderly group, women's self-help groups prior to the study. Conducting a focus group discussion with a natural group may reveal discrepancies and similarities between what people say and how they act and how other participants react and comment in response. However, researcher must be aware that power relations inherent to the group's social dynamics, for example, doctors versus nurses, parents versus children, younger versus older, men versus women, might influence the participant. Public statements, data analysis must account for this potential bias. Now, what is this natural group? Natural group, as I mentioned in the very first line, consists of a multiple participant who belong to pre-existing informal or formal group. For example, your family or kin. That means papa, mama, children. Co-workers who are working in industry, elderly groups, women's self-help group. They are, natural group. So, in natural groups, what will happen? You will collect assemble, ask the people to come together at a particular platform, and then you have discussion on the topic which you are just discussing. So, when we are talking about the natural groups, one point you should keep in mind, sometime whatever I have written, however, researcher must be aware that power relation inherent to the group's social dynamics. Sometime when we form the natural group, doctors versus nurses is a natural group, they work together. Parents versus kin is a natural group. Younger versus old is a natural group. Now, what happens when you are doing the focus discussion, the natural group is doctor versus nurses. Now, this possibility, I am not saying it will always, there may be possibility that the doctor's influence may be on the nurses. The nurses, because they are subordinate to a doctor, so he or she, male or female nurse, may not be able to discuss openly, without hesitation with the group. So, you should keep this point in mind. So, that is why I have mentioned that this might influence the participant. So, if this is happening, you should keep in mind, you should take care of. The second group is the expert group. Expert groups consist of several people who have particularly good broad expert knowledge and experience of the research topics. Such groups, for example, nurses from health district center, ambulance driver, drugstore vendors tend to be smaller than the typical FGD and are used to solicit large amounts of highly specific information, although participant statements may vary. Now, second is a expert group. Expert group means, now here my group will be consist of those people who have the knowledge, common knowledge about the topic which we are discussing. Now, I have given for an example here. For example, we want to with the medical health workers. Now, who are medical health workers? Nurses from the staff, then the people working on the pharmaceutical companies, the vendors of the drug who are working on the drug stores, the persons who are working on the ambulance, because they are all interacting with the patient. So, this is a common group who has the basic knowledge of this discipline. Now, I want to discuss about the cricket. Now, in cricket, what will be the expert group? Players, coaches, umpires, experts, commentators. Now, all they have the knowledge of the cricket area. So, in the expert group, we will have the group which will have the common knowledge about the topic or the topics which we want to investigate. Now, we will talk about features of the focus group discussion. Now, what are the features of this group discussion? Now, there are 4 features. Number 1, 4 to 10 participants interact. Now, in this method, usually it is not a hard and fast rule. Not a hard and fast rule. Usually, it varies from 4 to 10. Because if you make a group more than 10, 20, 30, 40, then it will be difficult to manage. Because after all, what they are discussing, we will have to note it down and analyze the data after discussion has been completed. So, usually 10 participant maximum and 4 minimum, but it may depend upon, it may vary, it may be 12, it may be 11, it may be 3. But usual pattern is that, standard pattern I say, is 4 to 10 participants who will interact. Why 4 to 10? I have given you the rationale. Then a facilitator or facilitators to guide discussion using open-ended questions. Now, who will start? You have formed a group, 4 to 5 people, 10, 8 people. So, in that group, there will be one or more than one facilitator. We can say the group leader who will initiate the discussion. Now, in the discussion, the questions which will be put will be open-ended, not close-ended. Now, when I say close-ended question and open-ended question, what do I mean? Close-ended questions are those where the answers are fixed. Yes, no, true, false. Do you agree that this policy should continue? Yes, is a close-ended. Now, open-ended means where you will give your opinion. Do you agree that this policy should be continued? If yes, why? Now discuss. Now, other people say in the group, no, it should not be continued. Why it should not be continued? You give your opinion. So, when you are eliciting information by your views, by your opinions, such questions will be called as the open-ended, and when it will be specific answer, yes, no, true, false, fill in the blanks, it will be called the close-ended, because it is very natural. If the questions are close-ended, how the discussion can proceed? Discussion can only be further extended when the questions are open. So, third is an emphasis on the group talking among itself rather than to facilitator. Now, facilitator has initiated the discussion. Now, members will discuss among themselves, not with the facilitator. Facilitator will only listen. Clear? So, 4 to 10 participants, a facilitator who will start and members will discuss. Number 4, discussion is recorded and then transcribed by the researchers. That discussion will be recorded. Now, you can record by the tape recorder, or you can have the persons who will be writing shorthand or any method, and that discussion which you have recorded will be further analyzed to reach the research. Now, what are the strengths of focus group discussion method? If we are using this, what are its strengths? Number 1, quick way to collect data from several people. If you collect data individually on one person at a time, then it is a time consuming process, and when you have 4 to 10 people and discuss and have the data, so time will be saved, money will be saved. So, it is one of the quick way to collect the data. This is the first merit or the strength of focus group discussion. Number 2, produces data unique to group setting, for example, teasing, arguing and non-verbal behavior due to the interaction between participants. This is a unique feature of focus group. Again I am reading, produces data unique to group setting. Now, when you are discussing with a group, not only the answers, other information which is coming through the body language will also further help or will be a further aid in my data. Now, whether I am talking very softly to someone or I am shouting, I am showing agitation, I am showing surprise. No, this information is important because facilitator is sitting and the people are discussing. So, not only the verbal information, even the body language, the non-verbal information is also collected in this method. Number 3, unlike written question, focus group don't reply to participants literally to generate data. Now, if you have the written questions, then only the participants will just write and give their view, but here you are not to write, you are to discuss. Number 4, can encourage participant from marginalized group. Now, some people talk very few, so you can very well encourage the people who are talking, not talking, are talking in excess. We can modify, well, you have not contributed, will you like to say something? Now, Mr. A, you have said sufficient, let Mr. B to talk. So, this advantage is there that we can give equal opportunity to all the persons to express their views. Number 5, can generate more critical comments than individual interviews. This is valuable for research aimed at improving products or services. Now, aim of research is not only to collect the data. In research, we sometimes propound a new theory, new thing, or sometimes we do the modification. Now, when modification of anything can be done, when you have the critical comments. Critical comment means what are the weaknesses in this method, what is good in this method, what is bad in this method. Now, if you take interview individually, then it will not be possible, but when you are discussing in the group, then a huge amount of data is collected where we can know the critical comments that will help us to modify or improve the products or services or the thing or the theory which we are trying to investigate to study in the research. Number 6, can be used to validate findings from quantitative research methods by providing a deeper understanding that statistics cannot. Now, this is a very important point. Now, in the quantitative research, you have only the data, this much percentage, 80% in favor, 20% in not favor, this is a quantitative. But why 80% in favor? Why those 20% who are opposing it, why they are opposing it? This information will not come in statistics. Statistics will only analyze the numbers, but this, because here we are verbally discussing, we are knowing the view. So, this is a deeper analysis of the issue which we are investigating. So, the information which you have got from the quantitative, you can very well validate that data with the qualitative. For example, now 80% people say, if we modify this system in education, the value system will improve. Now 80%. Now, focus group discussion, we say this is the method, if we inculcate how the values will be increased or how will it affect the values. Now, they will give their opinions and we can have the deeper analysis. So, these were some of the strengths of the focus group discussion. Now, there are some limitations also, problems also, because none method is foolproof. Number 1, now I am talking about the limitation of FGD focus group discussion. Individual perspective that dissent from the focus group's majority may remain hidden due to overriding behavioral or cultural norms or desires to be seen as conforming. Individual perspective that dissent from the focus group. Listen carefully. Now, what is happening? We have said that just now, natural groups, parents and the kids, parents and the children, doctors, nurses, teachers, students. Now, what will happen? Sometime our culture does not permit us to talk against the views of the elders. Am I right? Culture does not permit. I can't say anything against my father. My father is giving one opinion. Now, I don't agree with that, but I will, suppress my feelings because he is the authority, he is my father. So, this problem is, what of the problem is that sometimes we are not able to give illicit information, we rather hide information, we don't reveal information which is actually coming in our mind. Number 2, confidentiality of individual responses is compromised due to the existence of the group. Now, one of the ethics of any research is is confidentiality, privacy. Now, whatever information I am eliciting is my opinion. It should not go to anyone. Suppose I am saying the problem is due to the parental problem is due to the teacher's problem. Now, individually I can say, but in a group I say, well, this problem is due to Mr. X. Now, Mr. X will come to know that I am talking against him. So, my confidentiality of my response will be leaked out. So, when confidentiality is leaked out, everyone is aware of it, and he or she will take care of it and will not give you the natural response which he or she wants to give. So, confidentiality is breached in this method. Number 3, only applicable when the population of interest has shared social and cultural experiences or share common areas of interest. Now, as I told you, earlier point, homogeneous knowledge. This can only be applied if the group is homogeneous. If the group is heterogeneous, we can't apply this method in the research. Number 4, the facilitator has strong effect on the focus group behavior and can therefore influence the extent to which issues or views are explored. After all, there is a facilitator. Whose facilitator? Sometimes the status, the personality of the facilitator may also influence the participants to give their opinion. If the facilitator is very on the higher position, now the participants may not able to reveal freely before him. So, facilitator may also have the negative effect in this method. So, number 5th, data analysis is usually very time consuming due to the quantitative produced. Now, obviously, if 5, 6 members, 10 members are sitting in that discussion method, now everyone will give their opinion. Now, you will have to analyze the opinion of each other. So, data analysis is a time consuming process. Number 6, there is also problem of social desirability on part of the participants that can impact the outcomes of the study. Now, the social desirability factor may come in because nobody wants to give. Sometimes people avoid to give a response which may annoy the other people. They give the response which is socially desirable so that your image is not tarnished before the others. So, this social desirability factor is important. Sometimes we say this group we are talking about cheating or the corruption in a particular group. We know that this particular group is involved in the corruption, but because of social desirability, we avoid to say that, well, he is involved in this in the cheating or in the corruption processes or in the methods. So, social desirability may be an obstacle, may be a wall between the respondent and the opinion. Group dynamics such as groupthink may inhibit discussion. I told you group dynamics, how the people are interacting. If in the group 2-3 people are dominating, the other they will inhibit and they will not able to give their natural response. The group may be difficult to manage and internal due to number of participants. Sometimes the number of participants is very large, it is very difficult to manage. Shy participants or introverts may feel overpowered and intimidated by assertive participants. This can induce bias and affect the end results. As I have told you, if the participants are introvert or the participants are having such personality that they are easily overpowered by the others, they are empowered by the others, then they will not able to give their opinions. So, the data will not be proper, the analysis will be some time of the problem. So, these were the strengths and limits of your focus group method. Now, types of focus group. 2 ways. In this method, one group watches, another group answers to the question posed By moderator, by listening to what the other group thinks and says, the group that listens is able to facilitate more discussion and potentially draws different conclusion. Now, there may be two way. In this what happens? In this way, there are one group watches and the group discussion gives the answer. So, you have the interaction and you may collect the data. The second is dual moderated. Two moderators are present, one which ensures the group session progress smoothly and one that makes sure that the topics in question are well covered. This technique typically results in a more productive session. Now, here you can two moderators, not one. Dual means two facilitator. One will simply manage the group and other will ask the question and collect the information. The third is the dueling moderator. There are two moderators who play devil's role. The purpose of the dual moderator focus group is to facilitate new ideas by introducing new ways of thinking and varying viewpoints. Now here the two moderators which are there, they indulge and they motivate, they just stimulate the people to give their opinion. Respondent moderator. One or more of the participant in the group takes the lead as moderator. This is done to change the dynamics of the group and generate more varied responses. Sometimes if there is the effect of the moderator, moderator is working as an extraneous variable, then one of the group member respondent may become the moderator. So, one of you of the group will be moderator and he will start the discussion and collect the data. Then there is a mini focus group, a focus group that consists of fewer participants, usually 4 or 5, which create more intimate groups. Now, these are mini groups, only 4 to 5 members. When the group is small, then more extensive, more exhaustive discussion we can do. Number 6, online focus group. Participants respond and share information through online means. Online focus groups are created to a broader range of participants. Nowadays, technology has come, rather we can form the online groups. Now, online groups, we can collect the persons from the different and we start the discussion. As you might have seen in the corona period, we were having all the seminars on the online basis. Now, we were discussing with each other. So, online focus group may also be formed. Now, last point which I want to discuss is the when to use focus group. When you will use? Number 1, want to gain an understanding of the culture of a group? Simple. Number 2, need to gain a large amount of information in a shorter period of time? We have already discussed. Want to explore the degree of consensus on a topic, whether the people have consensus on this topic of research or whatever we are discussing or not. Number 4, when group discussion or interaction among participants would bring out insight and understanding that would not be ascertained through questionnaire items or individual interviews. In questionnaire, the simply respondent give the answers, but here since they are discussing before a facilitator, moderator, we can also bring out their insight out of the questions which they are answering. Number 5, when assessing program effectiveness. When you want to assess program effectiveness, you can do. Desire feedback regarding a policy, program or the etc. When you want to do a research to get the feedback about a policy, then it is not possible to get information from 1 or 2, to have a group and have the feedback, whether they agree, disagree, good, bad, whatever they are telling, it will be a feedback. So, these were the when to use. Now, suggestions for conducting a focus group. Now, these are some suggestions which you should keep in mind. Optimal size 6 to 8 people per group. Number 2, recruit for and conduct several different groups for a project, typical 3 to 5. You may have number of groups 3 to 5, but better it will be 6 to 8 people per group. Time 1 to hour per group. The time duration should be 1 to 2 hours, not too lengthy, 3-4 hours it should not be. They will be exhausted, they will be fatigued, so they will not cooperate. Usually need a trained moderator whom the participant do not know. A moderator should be unknown to the groups and he should be trained, knowledgeable, well trained persons. Number 5, create a comfortable atmosphere. Create a comfortable atmosphere, have a rapport, provide refreshment, tea, biscuits, so that the people they give the responses and it is a natural type of the environment. Number 6, be conscious that some participants may not feel comfortable voicing their opinion in presence of other. Additional some may feel pressure to comfort to the group consensus. So, you should know that some people may not be, they may be conscious, they will not give their responses because of their own personality. So, in this lecture today, we have talked about the focus group discussion method, which I have said you, people 4 to 10 people will sit together, and whatever the topic of the research you have, you will discuss on that topic. There will be a facilitator, moderator, who will start that discussion, and whatever the opinion they are coming, you will note it down, and then you will analyze the data. This is a useful method because in a lesser time we are getting much information, and moreover this information which we are gathering is more deeper. We can know more about the things, not simply yes, no. So, that is why I told you that the question which you will use will be the open-ended questions. So, this was all about the focus group discussion method which you may use. Now, again I am telling you, it will depend on the type of the problem, the type of the group. You will decide that what you want to do. You want to do the individual study, then you can use the interview psychological testing. You want to know about a larger group, then you can go for the, you can opt for the focus group discussion method. So, this was focus group discussion method. Thank you very much.